John Marsden, author, teacher, principal. John knew at the age of 9 that he wanted to be a writer, but his path took him in many different directions before he became Australia's most popular and controversial author of his time. John was born just after the end of World War II and at the beginning of the Cold War. World War II brought economic prosperity to the country. The people of Australia did not want any communistic influences to disrupt their sense of well-being. The government would investigate citizens that might have communistic ties to the Soviet Union. Later, this would influence John's writing. John's father moved his family frequently when John was young. He started his education at Devonport Primary School in Tasmania. His favorite teacher was Mrs. Scott, who encouraged creativity, and her classroom was a warm and supportive environment for learning. This is when John first developed his love for writing. By the age of 10, John's family moved to Sydney, and he attended King's School, a strict military school, until graduation. John describes it as a strange and complex place. He thought it was like living on an island with 800 other teenage boys. Some of the teachers were violent and abusive, while others were gentle and liberal. During his long hours of detention, he spent a lot of time daydreaming and pondering over educational questions. He wrote his first magazine article at King's in 1967. It criticized the behavior of administrators at King's and how students were educated at the military school. After graduation, John attended Sydney University briefly. This was a difficult time for John because he was having a sense of loneliness and defeat. He suffered from depression due to family problems and the stress of education. John started seeing a psychiatrist and was admitted into a psychiatric hospital for a few months. Being in the hospital was troubling, but it had positive aspects as well. Marsden was able to see the world in new ways. The depression had a lasting impact on John, and he expresses his feelings during this time in many of his books, including So Much to Tell You and Checkers. After leaving the hospital, John tried a variety of jobs, none of which he really enjoyed. During this time, the Vietnam War demonstrations were going on all around the world. The demonstrations grew in strength by 1970. Demonstrators came from all walks of life: mothers, educators, clergy, and military veterans. In 1972, feminist issues came to the political and cultural forefront. John became interested in these movements and later made all strong characters in his novels women. By 1978, John had decided to try a teaching career. Almost immediately, he realized that he was able to express his creativity while nurturing others. He started as an English teacher and soon became the head of the English department at Geelong School. While there, he made a very critical decision about his future. It was to write for teens, since the novels written for this age group did not deal with the social issues facing adolescents. It became a controversial decision. In 1987, John published his first book, So Much to Tell You. He completed the novel in 3 weeks. As John had hoped, it was well received by the teenage audience. As in many of John's books, his first novel deals with the social issue of depression and the effect on a young adult's life. The main character, Marina, suffers from it and has very few chances, if ever, to be herself. The story also deals with family issues, which is another symptom for depression. A terrible accident happened between her divorced parents and her that caused emotional and physical scarring for the entire family. This goes back to John's experiences. The strict environment at King's School caused emotional scarring. Marina was sent to a psychiatric hospital just as John was.
I don't think I've had a good long time to settle in at all. I mean, I've only just started here. Am I supposed to be grateful that they've taken me, the nutcase, the psycho with the deformed face?
Checkers is another popular novel that was written by John Marsden and published in 1996. This book too deals with depression. In this novel, society influences the destruction of family. Checkers is a family dog that represents hope. When Checkers is no longer a part of the family, the world around the main character comes crashing down. Marsden centered these novels around flashbacks of his life. He allows teens to see how depression evolves and shows the significance of this life-changing mental disorder. It is obvious that John uses Marina and the girl from Checkers to explore and accept his past with the troubling disorder. For those who know John, they understand that exposing his past was a difficult topic, but he felt it was needed to raise awareness and spark an interest in young adult readers. John opened Candlebark School in 2006. The school's philosophy is one of creative, lively learning, which is both purposeful and challenging. Reading and daydreaming continue to be his favorite occupations, and his faith in the creative and honest spirits of young people with whom he works grows stronger every day. John Marsden continues to be a highly influential author and educational leader in the world today. John has left a lasting impact on readers. One is only left to wonder what other fascinating accomplishments he will have in the future.